afternoon. It's Monday, July 20. I'm Mai Rodriguez for your midday report. We'll be giving you the story shaping the nation at this hour. In the headlines, on day 7 of Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial, the court is expected to decide whether to allow access to her financial records. Senator Panfilo Lacson is building a case against Senator Alan Peter Cayetano over alleged budget insertions. Big news in sports, Spain wins its second World Cup crown after defeating Argentina. And a new landmark in Texas honors the legacy of national hero Dr. Jose Rizal. All eyes are on the Senate today as the impeachment court is expected to decide whether to subpoena Vice President Sara Duterte's financial records. Hannah T is reporting live from the Senate. Hannah, day 7 of the trial, are we expecting fireworks?
Yes, Mai, and just through a simple majority, one of the biggest legal battles of Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial could be decided today as the Senate Impeachment Court is set to vote on whether they should subpoena Vice President Sara Duterte's bank records or not. The House prosecution is seeking the documents for its case under Article 2 of the impeachment complaint, which alleges, among others, unexplained wealth of the VP. Prosecutor Chel Jokno argued that the records are necessary so the court can examine the full picture of the VP's financial dealings and decide the case based on what he called the whole truth. He also cited the impeachment trial of former Chief Justice Renato Corona, where the impeachment court allowed the examination of bank records as part of the proceedings. But the defense opposed the request. Lawyer Michael Poa argued that Duterte's financial information is protected by law and warned that issuing a subpoena simply to search for possible evidence after the charges have already been filed would amount to what he described as fishing expedition. The senator judges already heard oral arguments from both sides last week but deferred their decision after a closed-door caucus. Mai.
Hana, usap-usapan ngayon yung world war between Senator Ping Lacson and Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. Can you tell us more about this?
Tama ka dyan, Mai, no? The plot thickens, ika nga, pagdating doon sa word war ni na Senator Ping Lacson and Senate Minority Leader Alan Peter Cayetano. And Lacson earlier said Cayetano belongs in the Quezon City jail over alleged corruption, and he said that his integrity is his first and last line of defense and accused Cayetano of crossing the line by attacking him. He also claimed that he is now gathering informants, witnesses, and evidence against the minority leader. This exchange stemmed from Cayetano's claim that the net worths of Lacson and Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo had doubled. Lacson said his net worth had actually increased more than fourfold through legitimate real estate transactions and other businesses, and he then turned the tables on Cayetano and he alleged that the latter was actually behind 6.79 billion peso worth of budget insertions under the 2025 national budget, and he claimed that there were also so-called ghost projects in Taguig City. Cayetano denied those allegations and he dared Lacson to also scrutinize projects in other cities instead of singling him out. Back to you, Mai.
Hana, may mga concerns that dahil itong heated debate na ito at world war, dahil dito baka matabunan ang mga dapat talagang talakayin ng impeachment court. Napag-usapan ba ito ng mga senator judges?
Mai, alam mo, so far, doon sa huling pakikipag-usap natin kay Senate Impeachment Court spokesperson Reggie Tonggol, itong impeachment trial ay isa rin sa mga venue na ginagamit nito mga senator judge when it comes to raising their concerns. So mamayang hapon, pwede nating maasahan na meron ulit exchange sa pagitan ng mga senador dahil ito nga ay tanging venue ng kanilang concerns at naka-session break kasi ngayon ang Senado. Pero ang giit naman ng Senate Impeachment Court, kailangan respetuhin itong time allotted para sa mga manifestation gaya nga nung ginawang manifestation or speech nitong si Cayetano last week. Kaugnay din doon naman sa SEA Games issue na in-raise na rin ng NBI. Back to you, Mai.
Maraming salamat, Hannah T. Live from the Senate. Vice President Sara Duterte's legal team is expected to do everything to block the request for access to her financial records. Let's hear the latest from the defense. Jill Sabandal is reporting live from the Senate. Jill, go ahead.
May Day 7, Week 3 of the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, the impeachment court is set to resume hearings as both of the prosecutions and the defense continue to present their respective arguments. The defense is expected to maintain its position that the prosecution must prove every allegation through competent, relevant, and admissible evidence. The defense is also expected to continue opposing requests to obtain bank, tax, and other financial records, arguing that such requests go beyond the issuance raised of the articles of impeachment, violate due process, privacy rights, and amount to fishing expedition. Meanwhile, the prosecution is expected to stand by its position that the requested documents are material to case and necessary to support the articles of impeachment. Today's proceedings are expected to focus on pending procedural matters, legal arguments, and presentation of additional evidence as both sides continue to strengthen their respective positions before the senator judges. As the impeachment trial enters its third week, both parties are expected to continue their legal battle over the admissibly relevance and sufficiency of the evidence presented before the impeachment court. Mai?
Jill, what else are we expecting from the defense today?
Actually, the defense is expected to continue challenging the prosecution's evidence, insisting nga that every allegations must be supported by competent and relevant evidences. Kasi last week, nasabi nga din ng depensa na halos puro daw fishing expedition yung nangyayari. And of course, to maintain the opposition to request other financial records and arguing that such request might violate the due process and wala nga daw privacy rights, and sabi nila hindi daw ito scope ng articles of impeachment.
Maraming salamat, Jill Sabandal, live from the Senate. A political analyst says Vice President Sara Duterte could lose outside Mindanao in 2028 if she will not attend her impeachment trial. On BNC's memo, Professor Eric Torres said the Vice President should personally face the impeachment court, calling it a test of character for her presidential bid.
Tingin ko may bawas doon sa ibang regions of the country. Kasi kung titignan natin, consistently, yung criticism sa kanya, ang bigat, pero steady yung numbers niya. So tingin ko hindi mo na mababaging desisyon ng bailiwick niya. Yung ibang areas na lang na talagang nakaka-affect. And pwede ka makakuha ng base votes doon.
He also said social media has expanded the battle over the impeachment trial beyond the Senate, as influencers could affect public perception. The House Prosecution Panel dares the defense to produce Mary Grace Piatos, one of the individuals who supposedly received confidential funds of VP Sara's office. On BNC's memo, House Prosecutor and Manila 3rd District Representative Joel Chua said a non-appearance by Piatos would boost the prosecution's theory that her identity was fabricated. The prosecution is expected to present evidence on the confidential funds charge on July 22.
Ayun, siguro dapat alamin din natin. Maski kami, hindi rin namin kilala eh.
Oo. So, paano magiging approach ng prosecution patungkol dito, sir?
Well, part siya sa testigo na patatawag namin.
Oo.
So, kung may papalabas nila, pag may lumabas sa Mary Grace Piatos, pag ito'y sinampina ng impeachment court, may opportunity na kami para tanungin siya. Pag walang lumabas, so malamang tama yung tsurya namin na talaga namang wala talaga itong taong to.
House prosecutors have long said that revealing Vice President Sara Duterte's bank and tax records will give senator judges a complete financial picture before they render a verdict. Pumunta tayo kay Isaiah Mirafuentes ng Abante Live mula sa Senado. Isaiah, ano ang game plan ng prosecution ngayon?
May ngayong araw nga ay walang inaasang ihaharap na testigo ang prosekusyon sa impeachment court. Subalit, inaasahan natin na mas magiging mainit ang talakayan. Kaugnay pa rin nga sa hiling na buksan ng tax and bank records ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Mahalaga ang mga dokumentong ito na magamit na ebidensya para sa isang article of impeachment kaugnay sa unexplained wealth. Hindi pabor dito ang defense team dahil sa posibilidad na paglabag sa batas, partikular na sa bank secrecy law at data privacy. Sa ngayon, nasa kamay ng mga senator judges ang kumpas kung bubuksan pa ang mga dokumentong umano yung magsasabi kung hindi may paliwanag na yaman si VP Sara. Ayon kay House Trial Spokesperson at Lanao del Sur Representative Zia Alonto Adjong, mahalaga ang mga dokumentong ito para maging kumpleto ang hatol ng mga senator judges at hindi nakabase lang sa presumption. Mailang minuto na nga lang at magsisimula ng ikapitong araw ng impeachment trial laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. At ngayon nga bago magsimula ang trial, makakasama muna natin si House Trial Spokesperson at Lanao del Sur Representative Zia Alonto Adjong. Thank you, Kong. Thank you for your time. Alam kong medyo tight yung time nyo, pero thank you for giving us time dito sa Bilyonaryo. First of all, Kong, during the time ni PRRD as the President, naalala ko, ang pinapakita nilang mukha sa publiko na hindi sila ganun kagalanteng pamilya, simpleng pamilya. But this time, one of the article of impeachment is based on unexplained wealth of the Vice President. And this time, hinihiling natin sa impeachment court na babuksan yung tax and bank records ni VP Sara. Can you explain to the public why is it necessary to open those documents? Bakit? Pwede ba nating masabi na medyo naging pakitang tao lang yung ginawa ng Administrasyong Duterte,
Well, unang-una, dito sa impeachment court na to, impeachment proceedings na to, isa yan sa mga naging allegation, yung unexplained wealth. So, ang inaasahan talaga natin na mangyayari is that yung request natin for the subpoena dito sa mga transaction records ng bangko, ng AMLA, pati na rin sa ITR, ay makuha ma-obtain ng impeachment court dahil karapatan nila ito. Kumbaga, binibigyan sila ng constitution na katangi-tanging mandato, authority at power ang impeachment court para magkaroon sila ng pagkakataon na makita ang lahat ng importanteng ebidensya. Kasi pinag-usapan natin dito sa second highest official of the land. Hindi ito simpleng ordinaryong trial. Trial ito kung saan tinetest yung fitness ng isang nakaupo dito sa opisina na to na impeachable officer kung talagang patok kumbaga na-reach niya o yung kanyang yung kanyang pagdideklara ng kanyang salin ay naging 100% truthful ba ito na according to the Constitution kung meron talagang undeclared or unexplained wealth ay hindi niya na-reach yung na-met, hindi niya na-meet yung constitutional standard of allowing herself to be continuously within the office. So, yung kailangan na makita ng korte at hindi sana maklip yung kapangyarihan ng korte na ito, ma-access itong mga dokumento na to.
And I remember during the time na itong impeachment ay nasa Kamara pa during the House Committee hearing, I think it was 6 billion pesos yung nakita ng AMLAC sa transaction niya. And ang declaration ni VP Sara dun sa salin is nasa around 80 million pesos. And then the explanation of the defense was dahil meron naman daw pumapasok at nilalabas yung total ng kaya nabuo yung 6 billion. Like sinasabi nila na hindi naman yun yung laman lahat ng account ni VP Sara. Anong sagot nito?
Well, it does not matter whether that the amount is in the accounts. What is important is that the AMLA, according to their report, suspicious transaction. Ibig sabihin, it's more than the allowable 500,000. Kasi di ba, lahat naman tayo nagkakaroon ng deposit and withdrawal sa bangko. And so, mayroon kasing allowable lang, di ba? If it's more than the 500,000 allowed amount to be withdrawn, medyo magde-declare ka doon sa pupunta ka sa managers, di ba? Sa manager ng bangko, and then you would explain. Kasi that would still cover under the suspicious transaction. So regardless whether, because that's the defense, and we will see whether totoo. Kaya nga ito yung rason kung bakit kailangan natin yung makita na yung records para makita kung totoo ba yung aligasyon at saka yung depensa, no? Para makita natin kung ano ba talaga yung nilalaman nitong mga bangko na to, not really to arrive into a conviction, but to allow the court to satisfy itself, no, with sufficient evidence and access to this evidence for them to reach a verdict which is impartial and sound, no? Kasi paano naman din mag-decide ang korte kung hindi nila nakita yung mga dapat makita, no? So going back to your question, it's actually the suspicious transaction that was flagged by the AMLA. So I think it's not so much on how much money is there in her bank account. It's the fact that she did not declare this in her SALN, which is actually a very huge amount. We're talking of not only hundreds of discrepancy, but billions, di ba? Billions. So, nararapat lamang na makita natin at mabigyan ng pagkakataon ng korte na ma-exercise niya ang kanyang karapatan, ang mandato, para the whole picture, no? Makita ng korte at masuri niya ito yung mga ebidensya na to para rin pagdating sa panahon na siya magbibigay ng verdict ay base doon sa mga legal documents at mga ebidensya na nakita nito, no? It goes either way. It can be, in fact, it can even it can even support the claim of the defense. Yeah, kaya nga sinasabi natin, the securing this evidence and these materials does not really automatically satisfy or to the advantage of the prosecution. It can be the other way around. What is important is ang taong bayan nagdidemand ng katotohanan at ito yung pagkakataon na may bigay natin sa kanilang demand, which is katotohanan, walang halong manipulation. It's a truth and the whole truth, but nothing but the truth. No?
Kung last question na lang sa akin na bago ko ibigay kay Mai, mabilis lang. I do remember during the time of impeachment trial against former Chief Justice Corona, merong siyam na senador, based on dun sa bilang ko, may siyam na senador na noon at senador ulit ngayon. At kabilang kong sa pinagbutuhan during the time na impeachment ni late former Chief Justice Corona is yung bank and tax records din. And isa sa mga nag-yes doon ay si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, Senator Pia Cayetano, and Senator Panfilo Lacson. This time ba if ever man mag-iba yung sagot nila, maaari bang ma-question yung consistency nito mga senador na to?
Well, una-una nakakatulong kasi yung precedents, di ba? Yung mga naganap nung nakaraang mga impeachment trial, it will give us an indication, at least sa publiko, kung paano na-appreciate ng huwes, nakaupong huwes, yung pag-arrive nila into decision. Maganda kasi na brought out mo yung corona impeachment kasi ang naka-impeach talaga kay the late Chief Justice is yung kanyang non-disclosure, kanyang SALN, which basically is the very contention of the under Article 2, no? Which is unexplained wealth. No? So what we expect from the senators is from the senator judges is to allow the access of this evidence to be provided by these agencies so that they can actually see kung ano yung mga ebidensya, ano yung mga materials, ano yung mga dokumento na po pwedeng either way. It can go to the advantage of the defense or it can go the other way around, no? Ang sinasabi natin is for the Senate to really appreciate nga itong mga ebidensya na to, dapat may access at di maklip ang kanilang kapangyarihan. As to how they will proceed, once these documents are secured and obtained by the impeachment court, that to us would depend on how both panels would argue, no, based on not only this evidence but the testimony of those who can actually testify and to be corroborated by the evidence that we will present. It's how they will individually proceed, no? So titingnan natin what is important. What is important is that ang impeachment court hindi bumaba ang kanilang kapangyarihan, hindi maklip, no? Ma-restrict ang kapangyarihan. At the same time, indication yan, Isaiah, na ang taong bayan ay nakikinig din, nagsusuri din, at binabantayan din itong proceeding ng impeachment court na to a point na hindi mo maiwasan na mag-reference sila or magamit nila yung corona impeachment trial as their kumbaga as their an indication na ganun din bibigyan ng sapat na panahon, pagkakataon ang mga huwis tulad nung na-exercise nila ng corona impeachment at dito rin nila dapat ma-exercise at yung kanilang power, no? So the way that they exercise it during the corona impeachment would be similar to the way that they will exercise their right, no, on this particular impeachment trial.
Alright. Thank you so much, Congressman Adyong. At least napapaliwanag po natin yung mga impormasyon na kailangan malaman ng taong bayan. At yun nga, Mike, ang kaabang-abang ngayong araw ay kung ano ba ang magiging desisyon ng mga senator judges kaugnay pa rin nga sa bank and tax records ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Mike.
Maraming salamat, Isaiah Medafuentes at Representative Adyong. Aabangan nating lahat day 7 of the trial coming to you in less than 40 minutes at 2 p.m. Cost-oriented groups are calling on the Senate Impeachment Court to allow the release of Vice President Sara Duterte's financial records. They staged a lightning rally outside the Senate. Joining us from there is Joan Manalo. Joan.
My members of Akbayan Party earlier staged a protest here outside the Senate, calling on the Senate Impeachment Court to immediately subpoena the bank and tax records of Vice President Sara Duterte. The march was led by Akbayan President Rafaela David and was joined by members of various civil society and progressive groups, including Magdalo, Mamamayang Liberal, Every Woman, and Tindig Pilipinas. David said the Senate's commitment to the truth is now on trial, stressing that the truth should never be hidden. She likewise emphasized that the impeachment trial is a search for the whole truth and not a process of choosing which facts to reveal. Hence, if the Vice President's bank and tax records can help establish the truth, then they should be subpoenaed, examined, and made part of the proceedings.
Ang klaro sa atin, the Senate Impeachment Court is also on trial. Are they going to side on truth and accountability o papanig sila na pagtakpan yung bank records ni Sara Duterte? At tayo ay nananawagan, we hope that later today that the Senate will vote in favor of the truth and accountability.
David said the issue goes beyond financial documents, stressing that it is about public accountability and the use of public funds. Akbayan also challenged Duterte's defense team to heed the Filipino people's call, abandon what it described as obstruction and delaying tactics, and allow the evidence to be presented. David said that if the defense truly believes that Vice President Sara Duterte has nothing to hide, then it should have nothing to fear from the issuance of a subpoena. The group also warned senator judges against a repeat of the second anvil of controversy during the impeachment trial of former President Joseph Estrada. Also present at today's protest was Akbayan Party List Representative Percy Sandania, who said the Filipino people deserve to know what is contained in the Vice President's bank and tax records.
Malinaw na may paglobo ng kanyang bank accounts na hindi nagko-correspond doon sa kanilang statement of assets, liabilities at net worth. Ito yung susi para sa paglilitis na nangyayari ngayon. Kinakailangan makita ng taong bayan, makita ng Senado ang ebidensya. Huwag ikandado ang ebidensya kasi hindi confidential ang katotohanan.
The rally was also joined by other members of civil society groups who also echoed the call for the immediate issuance of subpoenas for the VPs of bank accounts and tax records. That's the latest from outside the Senate. Back to you, Mai.
John, marami pa bang protesta ang inaasahan mamayang hapon?
Mai, as of this hour, nananatiling peaceful and clear yung premises ng Senado, lalo na dito sa labas. But some police personnel are still monitoring, of course, the security and safety of the area. At patuloy tayo nakaantabay kung sakali mang may mga dumating pamamayang mga protesters, lalo pat magsisimula na ilang minuto itong impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Mai.
Maraming salamat, John Manalo from outside the Senate. Senator Panfilo Lacson is firing back at Senator Alan Peter Cayetano's claims that his net worth increased, citing his statement of assets Liabilities and Net Worth or SALN. Lacson called the claims wild insinuations and black propaganda. He says they're now building a case against Cayetano over alleged budget insertions linked to projects in Taguig City and that Cayetano supposedly received a 25% kickback. He adds 2 projects totaling 75 million pesos were not executed out of Cayetano's 6.79 billion insertions under the 2025 national budget. On Agenda Weekend, Lacson also claimed they have identified the alleged bagman and that some of the evidence they've gathered were already submitted to the Ombudsman.
Now, may kausap kami mga kontraktor na nagsasabing hindi siya bumababa sa 25%. Hindi galing sa akin yan. Yan yung amin dinedevelop ngayon. Na pagka nag-resume yung hearing ng Blue Ribbon Committee, pwedeng lumabas to. Hindi ko sinasabing sigurado lalabas kasi work in progress ito lahat. Meron yung dalawang proyekto na Diskaya, St. Timothy, saka St. Gerard. Ganon din, may problema. Meron din yan yung sa top 15, yung top notch, catalyst, builders, na nasa top 15. Pati nga yung kanyang bagman, identified na namin, hindi ko lang sasabihin kung sino muna dahil dinidevelop nga namin ito.
Lacson also pushed back against being called a, quote, chief persecutor. Earlier, Cayetano had accused the new Senate majority of acting as the administration's attack dogs. But Lacson says this is only part of Cayetano's effort to create content for his regular Facebook Live. Up next, DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon checks on the ongoing EDSA rehabilitation. The details after the break. Stay tuned to Midday Report. You're back on Midday Report. Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro will meet with her Chinese counterpart as the 59th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting begins today. Ivy Reyes is on the line for more. What's the latest, Ivy?
Yes, Mai, the 59th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting starts today and will run until Friday. And apart from the confirmed attendance of American and Chinese ministers Marco Rubio and Wang Yi, the Foreign Affairs Department just confirmed Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro will sit with Minister Wang of China. But as to the details of their meeting, the DFA deferred to preempt the discussion. This comes amid rising tensions between the Philippines and China following an AI video of a Chinese state media depicting Filipinos as monkeys. While our Defense and Foreign Affairs Departments already expressed condemnation, Malacanang said President Marcos himself watched the video and, like any Filipino, believes that no Filipino should be pictured as a monkey. The palace also seemingly took a swipe against Senator Robin Padilla, who, in a Facebook post, said we are all monkeys of different colors in the eyes of white supremacists. According to Malacanang, no Filipino agrees and accepts this depiction except for some legislators. The long-delayed establishment of a code of conduct in the South China Sea is also confirmed to be among the agenda of the ministerial meeting this week. Meanwhile, on local matters, Malacanang pointed to former President Rodrigo Duterte's presidency in responding to Senator Alan Peter Cayetano's statement that its campaign to provide a 10,000 peso aid for each Filipino family was denied by President Marcos. To this, Malacanang said PBBM was not president yet when Cayetano lobbied for this legislation in the House of Representatives. The palace also commented on the rising number of crimes in the Philippines and said while there are consecutive reports of violence, the police force also reports areas in the country with no recorded crimes. Just last June, a series of school-related violence made headlines and even prompted lawmakers to probe the influence of online games and social media among the youth. Back to the ASEAN discussion, Malacanang also confirmed that U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will have a courtesy call at the Malacanang Palace, but no details have been divulged as of press time. Right now, that's all the updates I have here at the Palace. Mai.
Thank you, Ivy Reyes, reporting from Malacanang. Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon checked on the ongoing EDSA rehabilitation. Micah Razon is on the phone. Micah, tell us what happened.
During his early morning inspection, DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon
first checked the ongoing asphalting at EDSA Estrella to Bonifacio Serrano Avenue, saying that it is part of the government's efforts to rehabilitate EDSA.
Meron tayong teams na gumagawa sa monumento site sa dulo. Meron din tayong teams na gumagawa ngayon para magkikita sila sa gitna. So, para mas mabilis ang paggawa natin.
Dizon then proceeded to EDSA Buendia, where he inspected the newly enhanced sidewalk, which has been doubled in width to better accommodate both commuters and bikers.
So, siklista, pedestrian, safe na rin. No? So, yan ang gagawin natin sa buong EDSA. Gagapakan natin.
Dizon also said that the sidewalk improvements at EDSA Buendia include an upgraded drainage system that is expected to help ease flooding in the area.
Ang problema, yung mga inlet, yung mga pasukan ng tubig pagka bumaba, lalo na pagka magakasang ulan at matagagang ulan, ang liliit. So ngayon, dodoblein, titriplein namin yung laki para mas mabilis yung pasok ng tubig sa mga drainage.
The EDSA road rehabilitation, including the asphalting and sidewalk improvements, is expected to be completed and fully operational next year. Meanwhile, we were also able to ask Sec Vince about the latest updates on Coyot Bridge, where a fire broke out beneath last week that leads to parts of a congressional road closure. He said that repairs are still ongoing and the bridge is expected to reopen this Sunday to light vehicles only. Additionally, we are now here at the MMDA, where just a few hours ago, the viral traffic enforcer who was seen counterflowing along the EDSA busway appeared to answer the MMDA show cause order regarding his violation. Back to you, Mai.
Sa paglaki ng sidewalks, inaasahan daw na mas ligtas, and at the same time, this is an opportunity for the small vendors. Pwede pa ba sila dyan?
Yes, Mai. Naku, sabi kanina ni Sec Vince, pinagbabawal daw ang magtinda sa mga improved sidewalks na ito. Kaya walang opportunity para sa mga small vendors na makapwesto sa mas pinaluwag na sidewalk. Mai?
Maika, ano naman ang paliwanag ng enforcer at bakit daw siya dumaan doon at ano ang posibleng ipataw na parusa sa kanya?
Ayun, Mai, nakausap natin yung traffic enforcer. Ang paliwanag niya, tumawag daw sa kanya yung asawa niya at sinabi na yung anak daw nila na may Down syndrome ay nahihirapang huminga. Kaya hindi na daw siya nakapag-isip, ninervyos daw siya at hindi na siya nakapag-isip ng tama, kaya napadaan na daw siya doon sa busway. Sabi naman ni Attorney Victor Nunez, Director for Traffic Discipline Office ng MMDA, bukod sa illegal na pag-counterflow at pagdaan sa EDSA busway, ang pinakamalalang magiging parusa niya ay ang grave misconduct, kung saan pwede siyang ma-dismiss sa service, pero depende naman daw yan sa mga explanation ng enforcer. Sabi rin ng enforcer, sa loob ng 22 years niya na serbisyo ay this is his first violation. Kaya nanghihingi siya ng kapatawaran sa MMDA at publiko. Mai?
Maraming salamat, Maika Razon reporting. The government is finding ways to help consumers cope with rising oil prices. This as we expect a big-time fuel price hike as much as 10 pesos for diesel tomorrow. Che Sulit has more. Go ahead, Che.
That's right, Mike. Motorists will be hit with another round of sharp fuel price hikes starting Tuesday, July 21, including a double-digit increase for diesel and kerosene. Diesel prices will increase by 10 pesos and 68 centavos per liter, while kerosene will go up by 11 pesos and 77 centavos per liter. Gasoline prices will also rise by 3 pesos and 65 centavos per liter. These data came from the Department of Energy earlier today. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin said the latest price surge is being driven by escalating tensions in the Middle East, which have pushed up risk premiums and insurance costs for oil shipments. Garin also stressed the government does not produce petroleum products and cannot control prices in the global oil market. While the agency cannot intervene in global pricing, it said it will continue to monitor the market and take action against abusive practices such as profiteering. The DOE is also in discussions with oil companies on the possibility of staggering the latest price increases to help ease the impact on consumers. The government is also continuing to roll out its fuel subsidy program for eligible beneficiaries. Meanwhile, the DOE said it is pushing for the establishment of a strategic national petroleum reserve, including crude oil storage facilities, to strengthen the country's energy security. Varian also assured the public that the Philippines' oil inventory remains stable and sufficient despite the continuing volatility in the global market. Back to you, Mai.
How will the higher fuel prices affect electricity costs?
Mai, the Energy Department says, depending on the movement of oil prices in the next few weeks, electricity prices may also go up, though the trend may be too early to predict for now. Undersecretary Rowena Guevara said the agency is encouraging distribution utilities to use cheaper fuel before using more expensive oils. DOE also urges the public to control energy consumption, saying that increased demand may cause electricity prices to surge. Mai?
Thank you, Chasulit, reporting. Let's go to Batangas. Governor Vilma Santos addressed her constituents today on the accomplishments of her administration. Pierre Pastor is on the line. Hi, Pierre. What's the state of the province, according to Governor Santos?
Hi, Mai. I'm here in Batangas City, and I witnessed a different way or a different kind of presenting the state of the province address of Batangas at the Batangas.
All right, we just lost Pierre Pastor. We'll try to get back to her in a bit. Coming up next, Spain dethrones Argentina to win the 2026 FIFA World Cup. That and more sports headlines plus world news when Midday Report returns. Stay tuned. U.S. President Donald Trump defends the latest strikes against Iran, saying they were carried out in honor of American service members killed in the conflict. The U.S. military completed its 9th consecutive evening of strikes, hitting Iran's military coastal surveillance and air defense facilities. The latest casualty, an American service member killed in northern Iraq during a controlled detonation of unexploded ordnance from a downed Iranian drone.
Well, we feel very badly, but you know, those great people, those great patriots were out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran has been very, very badly damaged, so we'll see what happens, but we hit them very hard again tonight, and we did that in honor of the probably three as opposed to two great patriots.
The U.S. military reports 17 personnel have been killed since the conflict began, with more than 420 others wounded. Social media influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate have been arrested in the U.S. as Britain issues new charges against them. The brothers face 38 additional charges, including rape and human trafficking. British authorities are seeking their extradition to face prosecution for the new charges and earlier allegations.
38 new charges in total have now been authorised against Andrew and Tristan Tate, bringing the total number of charges faced to 59. The charges relate to 7 victims, spanning a period from 2010 to 2017. I want to make it clear, there is no place for male violence against women and girls in our society, and we will continue to work tirelessly to support victims and investigate all reports made to us.
The brothers also face legal proceedings in Romania and a civil case in the UK. The Tate brothers, who hold U.S. and British citizenship, have denied all wrongdoing. Florida prosecutors are seeking the death penalty against a Filipino nurse accused of child sexual abuse. The case comes after a months-long investigation with damning evidence, including a video recorded by one of the victims. The details in this report by our U.S. correspondent, Paul Garilao.
Prosecutors in Florida's 5th Judicial Circuit are seeking the death penalty against Filipino nurse Schubert Navarroza Macarat, following a grand jury indictment charging him with 47 felony counts. The charges include multiple counts of sexual battery involving a child under the age of 12, as well as counts related to the possession of child sexual abuse material. The investigation began after the alleged victim disclosed years of abuse to authorities, leading to a months-long investigation. According to the arrest affidavit, the alleged victim told investigators she secretly placed a camera inside her bedroom because she believed another incident would occur. Authorities say the recording became part of the investigation. Investigators also say they recovered a hard drive containing hundreds of files identified as child sexual abuse material. State Attorney Bill Gladson says his office is seeking the death penalty because, in his words, the alleged crimes are so heinous that no other punishment is fitting. Beyond the criminal charges, legal experts say the case could become a major test of Florida's 2023 law authorizing the death penalty in certain child sexual battery cases. We asked former federal prosecutor and criminal defense attorney David Haas why this case is legally significant.
Eventually, this case will be heard by a Supreme Court. There is a U.S. Supreme Court decision that says that the death penalty for these offenses is not permissible. And so, how that gets litigated and how it gets resolved, will determine whether or not the death penalty can actually be carried out, assuming he's even convicted of the offenses.
Legal experts say the case is expected to take years to resolve, as both the criminal proceedings and the constitutionality of Florida's death penalty law could face lengthy court challenges.
A jury will determine whether or not, the defendant should receive or shouldn't receive the death penalty.
Paul Garilao, Bilyonaryo News Channel, Florida.
Spain delivered when it mattered most, beating Argentina to become world champions once again. Our U.S. correspondent Henny Espinosa recaps the 2026 FIFA World Cup final in this report.
Football's biggest night opened with a spectacle to match the occasion. Fireworks lit up the sky, fighter jets soared overhead, and more than 80,000 fans packed the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey as Spain and Argentina prepared to battle for the 2026 FIFA World Cup title. But once the opening whistle blew, the spotlight shifted from the spectacle in the sky to the action on the pitch. Spain set the pace from the opening whistle, controlling possession and creating the better chances, while Argentina struggled to find its rhythm. After a scoreless 90 minutes, the match was decided in extra time. In the 106th minute, substitute Ferran Torres broke the deadlock with the only goal of the match, lifting Spain to a 1-0 victory.
Spain is world champion for the second time. La Roja beat defending champions Argentina, adding another title to its historic 2010 win.
Spain obviously dominated the game for 90 minutes. The subs that they made at the end were the crucial deciding factors that allowed them to score the winning goal in the first half of extra time. I mean, as great as Argentina is, 0 goals, 0 shot attempts, 0 shots on goal, you're not going to win the World Cup that way.
Spain's commanding performance wasn't lost on football fans watching across the Bay Area. In Santa Clara, Phil-Am supporters from both sides gathered to witness the historic final, where even Argentina fans acknowledged La Roja's dominance.
I think it's really nice that Spain won. I was rooting for them ever since the U.S. got out, and I think it's really nice how Lamine Yamal, he's so young, so it could be any of us that be up on the stage.
While Spain celebrated its second World Cup crown, the final also symbolized a passing of the torch, as 19-year-old Lamine Yamal emerged as football's brightest young star. 39-year-old Lionel Messi closed another memorable chapter in his illustrious career. About 25 minutes after the final whistle, FIFA President Gianni Infantino and U.S. President Donald Trump joined tournament officials on the award stage to present the 2026 FIFA World Cup trophy to Spain. Trump helped award medals to both the runners-up from Argentina and the newly crowned champions, while Spain captain Rodrigo Hernandez Cascante, better known as Rodri, received the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player.
I thought FIFA was incredible. There's never been anything like it, probably in terms of an event, let alone soccer or football, whatever you want to call it. But I thought it was incredible. It was 4 times greater than any FIFA ever held. And it's probably about 5 times, actually, they're telling me today. So we're very proud of our country.
Meanwhile, the star-studded halftime show featured performances by Madonna, Shakira, and Burna Boy, along with appearances from BTS, Coldplay, Justin Bieber, and conductor Gustavo Dudamel. Brazilian football legends Ronaldinho and Ronaldo also joined Madonna on stage, while characters from Sesame Street and the Muppets added to the festivities. From the stadium to the heart of Manhattan, Spain's victory sparked jubilant celebrations. Fans flooded Times Square, waving Spanish flags and singing in celebration of the country's second FIFA World Cup championship. Penny Espinosa, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The latest film by Christopher Nolan, The Odyssey, is already making history, raking in a massive $264.1 million worldwide on its opening weekend. Now, Filipino pride continues to grow beyond Philippine shores as a new landmark in Texas honors the legacy of national hero Dr. Jose Rizal. The first Jose Rizal Park in the state is now taking shape, creating a place for culture, history, and community. Our U.S. correspondent Cheryl Picho gives us a look.
Community leaders, dignitaries, and supporters gathered to celebrate the groundbreaking of what will become the first Dr. Jose Rizal Park in Texas, a place dedicated to preserving the legacy of the Philippines' national hero while creating a cultural landmark for generations to come. The project is being led by the Knights of Rizal Houston chapter, whose members say the park will serve as both a tribute to history and a bridge connecting Filipino heritage with the broader community.
It will take a couple of years, but what's important is the creation of this park will be a crystallization of all the efforts, not only of Cortaf, but the whole Filipino community here in Texas. So I would believe that this will be a ground center for the Filipino community in the years to come.
The park is intended to become both an educational destination and a symbol of the values Rizal championed.
Right now, this may just look like an empty patch of land, but soon it will become the first Jose Rizal Park in Texas, a place meant to honor history, culture, and a legacy that continues to inspire generations.
Since we started in 2018, which is 8 years ago, now at least the project is moving ahead.
The purpose here is to gather all Filipinos, have the center for education. Number one, education, unity, and a plan of the project that will benefit everybody.
Manolo Di Perio, the park architect, says every detail has been carefully considered. The pathways and landscaping to gathering spaces designed for reflection.
We have the 3 elements here: earth, water, and the fire. You know where the fire is coming from? The statue of Jose Rizal. The fire is in his spirit that we hope we share as Filipinos, that we so badly need right now.
At the heart of the park will stand a statue of Dr. Jose Rizal by internationally recognized sculptor Fritz Silorio.
I'm now doing the prototype, and on 27 we will unveil the replica.
Organizers say the generosity of the landowner laid the foundation for a project they hope will inspire the community for decades.
To be a member of this prestigious organization, it is my honor, and to be humbled that this 1 acre and 2 acres will be donated for the purpose of to remember the legacy of Dr. Jose Rizal.
For many, the groundbreaking of the park marked a proud moment for a growing Filipino-American community in Houston.
See, what I love about Jose Rizal, he actually stood for the Filipino people by actually pushing the pen, not actually fighting. And I loved every single minute that he actually represented his own race and his own people to keep going.
Construction is expected to continue over the coming months, bringing Jose Rizal's legacy one step closer to a new home in Texas. Cheryl Piccio, Bilyonaryo News Channel, Houston, Texas.
And that's the Midday Report. I'm Mai Rodriguez. See you again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Stay informed and stay safe.